Hello, good
Um,
evening, sir.
Good evening. Um, I'm really sorry there was a little bit confusion on my side. The daylight saving just started this morning here, and I was still an hour late.
Mm. No problem, sir.
So we have about 28 people right now. So let's wait for a couple of minutes for a few more people to join. And while we wait, if you guys could type in chat where you all are from and what's your major. That will help us direct the webinar accordingly.
Good evening, sir. My name is Amartya. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer with Advantage India.
Hi,
So,
Aman.
yeah, we'll start your presentation once we have a few more people here in the meeting. And we'll start with a small presentation about Advantage India, after which we'll carry on with your webinar for today.
Sounds great.
How's the weather there in Houston, sir?
It's good. It actually became cold all of a sudden. It's a cold front this week and it's expected to stay that way. So I like it though. I'm more of a fan of winter than summers. How's it there?
Yeah, it's the same here. Suddenly, the nights and the mornings started become breezy and chilly,
Mhm.
and suddenly all the winter clothes were out from the cupboards. So yeah, it's same here, and I myself also prefer the winter more than the summers.
Cool, that is good. Yeah, we get to wear all the layers and the fancy jackets and stuff. Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
Yep, yep, cool.
Let's share the presentation till then.
Sure.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so it's going to be 7:10 here. We'll start with the presentation. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amartya Chakravarti. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Advantage India. So before we start with the webinar, we'll start with a small presentation about Advantage India. So Advantage India, learners today and leaders tomorrow. So something about us. In Advantage India is an e-learning platform aiming to guide students with in-depth knowledge of various industries and domains. Our team is a group of passionate individuals and professionals endeavoring to construct a platform where young and dynamic students can come together and interact with the industry professionals and experts of the domain. Advantage India is committed to excellence, pledging a student experience of the highest quality. For a range of coaching techniques and methodologies, we create the state-of-the-art training courses that offer students mind with competencies that they wish to triumph at. What distinguishes us from the similar other organizations is the fact that we strive for optimal quality. With every course and endeavor that we introduce, with a team of 30 plus hardworking individuals who share a common goal. Our organization is also blessed with the guidance of various experienced industry professionals in the capacity of technical advisors. Every association with our organization is deemed to leave you with a life-changing experience. Thus, sticking to our motto, learners today and leaders tomorrow. See, these are some colleges who have participated in our events and taken up our courses. The colleges being UPS, ISM Dhanbad, PDPU, GC Bame, RGIPT. MIT Pune, RT Kota, SRM University, Galgotia University, DIT University Dehradun, Graphicala University, Dibrugarh University, Parul University, Presidency College, and many more. Why e-learning? India was yet to experience the growth curve in online learning the way US or China had in the recent past. But the contemporary world have accelerated the growth by 5 to 7 years within a time period of humans. Even to say that the pandemic situation has speeded up this process of online learning. Our vision is that we aspire to create an interactive platform for the students to amplify their competencies and become aware with the proceedings of the world. We aim to connect students from various walks of life with professionals in their domains of interest. We don't only correspond with the technical aspects, but aim to cover the interpersonal skills of the student as well, thus sticking to a wholesome development of the student. Some of our upcoming endeavors are the well intervention internship, the seismic and GIS software training course, the coil tubing workshop. Some of our past endeavors are directional drilling course, an exceptionally well received course with witnessed massive participation from students. Drilling engineering and well construction course, which was our second course, which received 100 plus registrations. Thirdly we had a Mind Martian aptitude based quiz. Next we had a webinar on the well completion accessories by Mr. Manish Verma. Then we had a webinar on the importance of planning for startups in the oil and gas industry conducted by Mr. Mandar Pathak, who had 25 plus years of experience in the industry. Next, we had a webinar on data science, which was in collaboration with the GeoIn services. These are some of the posters of our past experiences, past courses and events. Why you should collaborate with us? We focus on overall development of students from technical to brand building. We have top tier faculty with the active teaching experience at oil and gas companies. Webinars on trending topics in the industry are being taken up by us. We have experience in the oil. We try to bring the experience of the oil field right at your screen with video facilitated teaching. The certificates and its authenticity being a Government of India identified company, the certificates are highly valued. Our technical advisors, Mr. Sanjay Joshi, Mr. Melin Gokhale, Mr. Vipin Bhalla, Mr. Samir Kale, Mr. Pulkit Goyal, who all have an experience of over 10 years in the industry. Thank you. So, talking about today's webinar. So we have with us Mr. Vikrant Lakhanpal. We have with us Mr. Vikrant Lakhanpal for the webinar of today, being practical tips for making a winning resume. Mr. Vikrant Lakhanpal currently works as technology integrator at Proline Energy Resources Inc, based in Houston, Texas. Now I would like sir to take over from here. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Amartya. Let me share my screen. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. 1 minute. I think I'm sharing the wrong one. All right. Good evening, everyone. I assume most of you are based in India, so good evening. It's good morning over here. Today we're going to talk about resume building and everything else that comes along with it. So before we get started, a few things about me, a quick introduction. I currently work as a petroleum engineering technology and a technology integrator at Proline Energy. And my new role, which I started this year, involves managing of business operations. In my free time, I hold various positions globally in Society of Petroleum Engineers. I am in the editorial board of the Way Ahead magazine. I was vice chair of Members in Transition, where our industry was going through some real tough times. I'm also in the steering committee of the Drilling Uncertainty Reduction Technical Section and various other positions in SPD. I also volunteer as assistant director at Well Engineering Research Center for Intelligent Automation. It's a center of excellence where we focus on drilling research and helping students grow at University of Houston. Another initiative I'm part of, which is one of my favorite ones out of all of these, is Project Grad Houston, where I mentor first generation college students to help build their dreams. And I also work as a BD school mentor, where we mentor upcoming business developers and business founders. I currently hold 3 patents, 71 research publications, and numerous white papers and articles. I am a graduate of University of Petroleum and Energy Studies. I did my bachelor's in petroleum engineering from there, and I also hold a master's degree from University of Houston in petroleum engineering. I do have a small business of my own. That's just a bonus. During the presentation, if any of you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat and we can take it at the end of the presentation. So today's webinar is going to focus on 4 things. The first thing that we will talk about is the mindset. The mindset when you're building your resume, the mindset when you're applying for a job, and your mindset when you're going in for an interview. After the mindset, we're going to talk about your resume template, then networking, and how you can network in this post-corona world. And at the end, we will talk about how to present yourself during an interview. So let's start with mindset. So whenever you go in for an interview or you apply for a job, what do you think your primary objective is? So before we get into primary objective, I want to show a quick screenshot. I was recently recruiting for this position of lease operator, pumper or well tender in Liberty County, Texas. And we posted the job on Indeed, which is like Naukri.com or Monster Jobs or any other. I think it's in India as well. But it's one of the most widely used job search platforms in the US. And within 3 days, we had about 539 candidates apply for the job. And I did not even sponsor the job yet. If I would have sponsored, God knows how many candidates I would have got. And it's just so hard to sit down and review all these 539 candidates and select your one knight in shining armor from them. And just to give you some perspective, Liberty City, Texas is a very small city northeast of Houston, which has a population of only 9,000 people and an area of 45 square miles. To give you some perspective with Houston, the area is only 7% of what Houston area is, and the population is only 0.4% of what the Houston area population is. And the job did not offer any relocation benefits or anything else, and still there were so many resumes received. So if the job would have been in Houston, the candidate profile, the candidate pool would have been exponential. So that's why your objective is to sell yourself. Your objective is to stand out, to show your silver lining, to show how you are better than all those other candidates who have applied for the same job. This is one thing which I usually notice when interviewing candidates, especially people coming fresh out of college. Their mindset is still about, they're trying to tell me how mathematically complex the last project they worked on was, or how their professor did not help them get an internship, or how their college didn't do this and that, or how well they play cricket. I'm sorry, all of that is not useful when you're going to build your resume. Your ultimate goal is to prepare a marketing document and to basically sell yourself. You have to look at this entire job search thing as if you're running a business and you're the chief executive officer of that business. And now your goal is to get as many interviews as possible for your candidate and convert them. So that's the first key takeaway message I want to share with everyone, is that you need to change your mindset. Now, how do we change our mindset? So this is a screenshot of technical specifications of Apple A14 Bionic chip. So if I just send you this whole slide and tell you it has 6 cores, turbo, 3.01 gigahertz, 4x Firestorm, and DDR5 5500 memory, and 11,800 million transistor count, and all that stuff, unless you're a technical person, you'll be like, I don't know what this guy is talking about. I'm not buying whatever this is. So instead, what Apple does, they use this whole information and packs it up in a very nice way with a beautiful video playing when you visit their website. And now if you look at this slide and this slide, they both are presenting the same information, but in a completely different way. So this one says 5G goes pro, A14 Bionic rockets faster via the smartphone chip, and blah, blah, blah. So Apple is technically, it's a smartphone manufacturing company, but what it does whenever it launches a new product, it steps into another role where it works as a marketing company. And in my perspective, they are one of the best marketing companies around. They can sell anything to anyone. So we have to adopt the same mindset when we are building a resume. You might have all these great things, you might be the best suited candidate for a job, but unless you don't pack it in a nice way, if you don't take it from this version to this version, it's not going to help you. So how do you need to think about your resume? So the first and the foremost thing you need to think about your resume is that it's a marketing document. And then you need to think about how do you want to structure your marketing document and what content your marketing document should have to create a lasting impression. After all, there's so many other resumes in the market, and you have to stand out. So the first thing when I say it's a marketing document, and people usually mistake it as the memoir, they write everything they have ever done. They think their information is so helpful. They'll put the project they did in high school. They'll put a project they did in first year of college. They will put a project which was in electronics and they're applying for a petroleum job. Basically, they'll put everything in anything that they have ever done. Please, please, please do not do that. It's not your memoir. It's not a track record of everything that you have done since childhood. Your resume, it's a marketing document. Every information that you put on your resume has to help your case of standing out compared to other candidates. And the recruiter, the person who's looking at that marketing document, should be willing to buy you by looking at your marketing document. Having said that, at the same time, you may maintain a master resume for your reference or for the applicant tracking system. So applicant tracking system is a software commonly used by the HR industry for mass recruiting when you have so much volume, so many students, so many people applying for the same job. How do you review so many resumes? So they just upload your resume into a system, they have so many filters they run, and finally get the candidate they want. Another reason you may want to maintain a master resume is for your personal reference. You can maintain a memoir for yourself, but not for the company. And if possible, stick to one page whenever possible. And yes, it is very much possible. I'll show you an overly used example of Elon Musk. If you just search Elon Musk resume, there's thousands and thousands of resumes which will come up, and everyone has put their effort of fitting his resume on one page. And if he can do it, so can you. I'm sure you don't have as much stuff as he does to put on a resume. But I don't just want you to run behind creating a one page. In some time, we'll talk about a resume template and how it can be fit onto one page. And if you're a master's student or if you have a PhD, then this may not be true. You can go beyond one page, but I would still say if you're sending a resume to a hiring manager via email or something, think of it again as a marketing document and put the most relevant information on one page and send it to them. So the next thing you need to think while building your resume is its structure and its content. How should you order your sections and bullets? How should you format your resume as a whole? And which sections you should include and what contents should you include under each section? This is very important. For example, like I told you guys in the beginning that I have 3 patents in 7 tier 1 publications. So if I'm applying for a technical job, it's a very relevant section and I do need to put it on my resume. But at the same time, if I'm applying for the job of a chef at a 5-star restaurant, that information is completely irrelevant and I do not need to include that section on my resume. At the same time, if I'm applying for a managerial role at another oil and gas company, they want me to come and manage their operations. They don't want me to do the technical stuff. So providing all the information about my patents and publications might not be the best idea, but at the same time, I don't want to completely remove them. So I can just mention them in a single line under the accomplishment section that, hey, I have 3 patents and 7 publications. I think it will be good that you know it when you're making a decision. But if I'm applying for a completely technical position, I will write what those patents are, what those publications are, and how did they help the industry. In a moment, when we get to the resume template, we will dive into deeper detail of what the structure should be and what or how to write the best content. But before we get that, what we need to do is the KYC. I'm sure you all know what KYC stands for. We all have a bank account. KYC stands for Know Your Customer or Know Your Client. So the first thing you have to do is to get the job description and thoroughly read the job description, understand what they're looking for. A lot of times people just look at the title and the title looks fancy, the title looks what they want, the company looks legit, and they just click the apply button. And these days it has become so much easier with LinkedIn, easy apply option. You just click the button and you're in. So don't do that. Get the job description, read the job description thoroughly, understand what they're looking for, and then create your resume accordingly, tailor it for the job position, and then apply. Put in your research, do some effort in applying for the job. Then the next step you want to do as a part of your KYC workflow is just ask some questions to yourself. Do your skill sets match this position? How can you frame your projects to match the job description? And how will you add value? So every time you apply for a job or get the job description, it may or may not be exactly what you have done in the past, but you can still apply for it. You can still tailor your resume to show that you're a good candidate for that position. You just need to frame your story properly. You need to tell your story accordingly. And in a moment, we will look at some templates on how you can tell the same story, which may suit different job descriptions. And then the last part of the KYC, which is very important part, is to research the company. Just go to their website. A lot of companies advertise on their website what they're looking for, what an ideal employee will look like, what they offer, and and a lot of different things. And we have platforms like LinkedIn today. Connect with the person who has posted the job. There's so many advanced filters on LinkedIn. If you're able to find some people who work for the company, try to reach out to them and ask them how you can tailor your resume accordingly, and if there is any advice that they may have for you. And at the end, network. I mean, no one is born with a network unless we are one of those highly privileged kids. All we have to do is build our network, and it has become so much easier in today's world with platforms like LinkedIn that all you need to do is just search for that person and send them a message. But please don't just send them a hey, I'm looking for a job, hire me. You're not going to get a response. Put some effort in it, send a smart message which will entice the other person to help you. There are so many people out there who are ready to help. It's just that if you ask for help in the right way. And later in this webinar, we will talk about what kind of LinkedIn messages usually get a response and what kind of LinkedIn messages will never get a response. And some web companies are really good. This is one of my favorite companies to work for, McKinsey. And if you go to their website, they clearly mention what they're looking for. They're looking for people who make personal impact, who have an entrepreneurial drive, who have great problem-solving skills, and follow inclusive leadership. So when you're applying for this company, you know that you need to tailor your resume to reflect these four parameters, these four characteristics. You need to exhibit them. You need to show that you have them. So the projects that you have done in the past or any other experiences you may have, you can modify the story accordingly to reflect how you can make a personal impact, how you have an entrepreneurial drive, how you have great problem solving skills, and how you are an inclusive leader. Not all companies have such well-defined criteria mentioned on their website, but I'm sure all of them do have something under their careers page which will help you understand what the company is looking for. Or if you don't find this page per se, you can look for a page which says what the company's values are and reflect your resume to show those same values. So now I'm going to share a resume template with you all, and we'll talk about the structure and content. So let me stop sharing my screen for a minute and open my template. Okay. All right. So I've prepared this template, and we'll go through what different sections are and what all we need to um, put and how we want to write all our information in a resume. So first thing, you have your header, which is your first name, middle name, last name. You write your email address, location, where you're currently based at, your phone number, and your LinkedIn. I highly recommend, but some people don't like to put it, so it's your call. And when you put your email address there, please, please, please make sure you have a professional email address. Do not write lizardart@gmail.com or goku@yahoo.in. Do not use those type of email addresses. Please create a new email address which is professional in nature. It could be your first name, last name, followed by some numbers at domain.com or something else. I've seen some people, like one of my friends, he's a petroleum engineer, so he made petro.sahil@gmail.com. So something like that. Be creative, but just don't use unprofessional emails. And then the next section is the objective of your resume. I know some people like to omit it. while some people get really, really creative when they're writing an objective. For example, let me show you one example. So the names and everything else has been changed. It's not an actual person. It's just it's an actual person, but the name and information has changed to use as an example in this webinar. So let's look at professional summary of what this person has written. So she wrote, creative and organized petroleum engineering student with a background in project management as well as training in data simulation and visualization with strong communication and leadership skills, seeking an opportunity to help utilize knowledge and grow within oil and gas industry. The profession, first of all, she spelled professional summary wrong. It's very unclear what she wants. It's very unclear what she's looking for. It's very unclear what she's offering when she wants to join this position. The English is wrong. There are at least 3 or 4 different sentences joined together with improper punctuation. So, and please do not get too much into information that I want to change the world and create something innovative and all that stuff. No one is looking for the next Einstein. People are just looking for someone who could come in, understand the company culture, understand the job, and deliver. So an easy way to do that is, if you're a recent graduate, just write recent, whatever your major is, let's say petroleum engineering graduate, seeking an entry-level job. A lot of people like to use the word looking, but please don't use it. Looking doesn't really give a very good impression. You're not looking out of your window. You're seeking for an entry-level job. Then full stop and say you have strong skill 1, skill 2, and skill 3, and willingness to learn more. And now this professional summary gives me a clear direction of who you are. You're a recent grad. What you're looking for an entry-level job. Okay. What do you have to offer? So your 3 most strong skills, skill 1, skill 2, and skill 3 are listed here. And you do have willingness to learn more. Just by writing this statement at the end, you do tell me um, that this person is very adaptable and someone coachable. I can coach him, I can teach him how to do stuff, and he can be a value addition to my company. Now, when you're writing your skills here, skill 1, skill 2, and skill 3, don't write generic skills. Don't write you are very good at Photoshop. Again, know your customer, research on their website, talk to people, read the job description. From the job description, get what are the top 3 skills that they are looking for, and what are the top 3 skills that you can offer in that job position, and mention those skills here at the top. The next section, which people usually write here at the top, is the education section, which I usually write here at the bottom. Now, there are 2 schools of thought here. Let's say a company is visiting your campus, and you and your classmates are applying for a job. So there are 50 of you, or maybe 100 of you, I don't know how many, applying for the same job. And all of you have the same education. All of you went to the same college, same degree. You all have more or less the same GPA. I mean, obviously a 2.5 will be very different from a 3.5, but other than that, 3.2, 3.25, 3.3, 3.35 doesn't make a difference. You're all same for the recruiter. The second school, unless you have a second degree, let's say you're a grad student, you have your bachelor's degree and master's degree, or you'll write your high school, that's okay, but your high school is not going to make a difference of where you graduated from. I usually like to stop at class 12th. Some people like to go all the way to class 10th. I do not recommend doing that. And so since all of you will look the same, there is no point of putting this education section at the top because it doesn't help you stand out. So that's why I moved it to the bottom. But at the same time, if you're applying for a job outside campus where you're competing with students from other colleges and other universities, at that time, the name of your university will make a difference. The company might have like, I have to hire this many students from University A, this many from University B, and so on. And at that time, it can make a huge difference. Or maybe your university is tier 2 and you're competing with a candidate from a tier 3 university. So at that time, your university and your degree helps you stand out and helps stand your marketing document, your resume out. So feel free to move the education section up here at the top or at the bottom, depending where and how you're applying for a job. And within the education section, the content will be pretty much standard: the name of your university, the city, state, the year you started, the year you ended, the name of your degree, your GPA percentage. And then if you have had any honors, any kind of scholarships, if you don't have a scholarship, are you in top 5% of your class? So mention those things over here. Then relevant courses. So let's say you are applying for a position of production engineer. So I'll write relevant courses as production engineering, well logging, pressure transient testing, or something like that. If you're applying for reservoir engineering or something else, I'll write formation evaluation, water flooding, enhanced oil recovery, and courses like that. So again, know your customer, know the job description, know what you're applying for, and write the relevant courses accordingly. At the same time, if you got a C minus or a D grade or something like that, please, there's no need to mention your relevant courses over there. Mention relevant courses only if you got B plus or a higher grade. Same thing for school. Write the name of your school, when did you graduate, what was your GPA or percentage, and if you have had any scholarships or any other honors while you were at school. The next section is work experience. So under work experience, a lot of people sometimes write even the academic projects that they have done or academic internships. I know a lot of colleges are offering that during the coronavirus. But I would recommend that you maintain a separate section for it and call it academic projects, where you can mention your major project, your minor project, your thesis, or any other project that you may have done at school. The reason is it gives you, it sets you apart. Let's say you are someone who does have an internship and has an academic project also. So if you provide that in two separate sections, it will make you stand out. You're not someone who just did academic projects. You did this couple of internships also, and and so on. And another very important thing is, if you have worked in the corporate world, it does mold you, it does enhance your personality in a certain way, and the recruiter would know, okay, this candidate is a better candidate than the other one because he has all this other experience. So let's dive into deeper detail. Under work experience, the first thing you have to do, a lot of people do, is they just write randomly. The first job description they'll write is what they did in 2010, and then they'll write what they did in 2015, and then they'll write what they did in 2012. Do not do that. Always follow a chronological order, with your most recent experience here at the top, followed by the one you did after that, followed by the one you did after that. So this one is called a chronological resume. There are certain formats of functional resume as well, which focus on the order of relevance to the job description. You may follow that, but it does look odd at the end of the day. So I would recommend that you follow a chronological order. Looking at the sample resume over here, okay, this person has it listed in chronological order, so that's not bad. Oh yeah, over here, see, February 2020, then July 2019, and then 2015 to 2017, and then February 2020 again, and then August 2019 again. So don't do this. List all your things in a chronological order. It makes you look more organized, and your resume structure does look much better. Now, when you get into further detail of how to write what you did over there, um, you need to ask yourself some questions. You need to tailor your descriptions to match the job description. So the best way to do it is to follow the XYZ approach. You have to write accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. Sometimes people write 10 bullet points under each position or title, or 5 bullet points, and they write it in very unorganized way, like this one. Monitor with a team of skilled engineers the daily production in different fields and coordinate with pumpers and field technicians to solve equipment failure and production loss. So too much, too long. It's like, okay, you helped a team of skilled engineers. Whether the engineers were skilled or not does not help me. Every word that you put on your resume has to work towards your case. So whether the engineers were skilled or not does not help me. So I can remove the word skilled. Monitor with a team. I'm not sure what does that mean. Did you assist a team of engineers? Did you lead a team of engineers? What does monitor with a team means? So I would remove that too. And if you are someone who is starting out, or if you were assisting, I would say use the word co-led a team of engineers. And then what was your goal? Team of engineers to monitor the daily production. You don't need to mention in different fields unless you're working in something very specific. Let's have as production engineer in Eagle Ford or Haynesville Basin. That does make me stand out. So if you're using those terms, then write it. Otherwise, different fields doesn't make sense. And let's come back here. Coordinate with pumpers and blah, blah, blah. Again, doesn't make sense. So follow the XYZ approach. Let's look at an after resume of this person. All right, so collect the 20 people operations team for daily well surveillance of 350 wells, production optimization, efficient equipment, inventory, and vendor management. So now this tells me what you did, how you did it, and what was the outcome. So you did daily surveillance of 350 wells. You're doing it by leading or co-leading a 20 people team, and you accomplished production optimization and efficient equipment inventory and vendor management. And you also, now this is also, you put a number to it. It's materialized. It's not something random. It's something tangible. It's not like, okay, I did this, this, and that. So that's the first thing you have to do is write everything in an XYZ format. You accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. And the next thing you need approach you need to follow is to include only 3 bullet points. The template only shows 2 right now, but do not cross 3. Do not write more than 3 bullet points. If you have worked with a company for, let's say, 5 years, 6 years, then break it down into multiple positions. Write this section and this section could be the same. Break it down into 2 positions, break it down into 2 time frames, but do not write a whole list of 50 things that you did at that organization. If you really did a lot in a short span of time, then pick the 3 most relevant things that you did. And when I say relevant to the job description, to the job you're applying for, not relevant to you or not the things that you are most proud of, the things which are most relevant to the job description. In your master resume, yes, you can maintain a memoir of everything you have done, but in the marketing document, no. And when you do your 3 bullet points, follow a sandwich approach. The sandwich approach is whenever you look at a sandwich, you see the breads are on the top and front, and the meat is actually what's in between. So we'll follow the same approach, a similar approach. Your first and last points should be the most attractive points, something which will make me feel like, okay, this person has done something, let's read further. And similarly, the last point should be the most catchy point. And the weakest point, you can sandwich your weakest point as a second bullet between the other two bullet points. Same thing, your next internship or work experience. And then follow the same approach when you're mentioning your academic projects. Again, mention them in a chronological order. And if you've used any kind of software while working on any of these projects, do mention it. Do not shy away from using those softwares. Those softwares will help you stand out. They will be your silver lining. And again, follow the same approach. Accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. Don't just tell me you did a lab experiment to calculate porosity in a gold log. Um, that's good for you. You did a lab experiment, but how does it help me? What was the outcome? What did you do different from 50 other of your classmates? Um, did you do it faster? Did you do it better? So highlight those facts. What were the outcome? Highlight the outcome. Um, Similarly, your other project, and over here you'll have your project title. Here you had your position title. You can have your project title. And when you're writing your academic projects, don't feel obliged to include the name of your mentor unless your mentor is someone who is very well known in the industry. It doesn't matter to me whether you did the project with ABC or DEF or GHI. It's just a name for me on your resume, and that name does not add any value, unless unless your mentor is very well known. When I was in grad school, I did work with some mentors who are very well known in the industry. For example, my thesis was with Dr. Economides, and she's a very well known name, and that name does help you open some doors. So I'll put her name on my resume. But if I work with someone else who may not be that well known, it doesn't add much value to my resume, and I may skip it depending on how much space I have left on my resume. And again, under your project description, I wouldn't recommend doing 4 or 5 bullet points. Keep it to the point, keep it short, sweet, and simple, um, and just highlight your outcomes. The next section is the leadership experience, which some people like to call extracurricular activities, volunteer activities, community involvement, or some people like to call it synergistic activities. So choose whichever works best for you out of these three names, and then go ahead, then write name of the organization you were part of. You're part of SPE, you're part of IEEE, you're part of AADE. Write what you did for them. If you're just a member who was there and just attended events, please do not include that you were a member at SPE and attended events. If you're doing that, we will write it here under the skills and interest section. We can write under interest or part societies or something like that, community involvement, and write those things here and just say SPE bracket member. But I would highly recommend that you join some volunteer organization and don't just join it as a member. Hold a position in the volunteer organization. Take up a role. It could be as simple as helping them organize an event. You could be an event organizer. You could be a membership guy. You could be the treasurer. You could be the website guy. Again, depending on your skill set and how much time you have to offer, I would highly recommend that you take up a position in some sort of volunteer organization. It does help us go a long way, and it does help you create a silver lining, and it even helps you build your own personality. So again, mention the name of the organization, which city and state was it, how long did you serve, what was the name of the position, and now under the volunteer organization, you don't need to list the positions separately like you do in work experience. You can just write all the positions right next to each other, and under brackets, you can write start to end years. And again, highlight the most important thing, the most relevant thing that you did as a part of that organization. The reason you don't need to break it down is because it is just something good to have. It is not the only criteria which will help you get a job. It is one of the many criteria. It does not hold as much weight as the work experience does, but it does help you stand out. It does create a silver lining. And sometimes volunteering also puts in touch with some industry professionals who may help you at some point down the line. And similarly, if you are a volunteer for multiple organizations, feel free to take two sections. And then the last section is the skills and interest section. I know some resume formats online, you will see they like to put it here up on the top. I do not recommend that because just the skills section here on the top does not add that much value. Because when I'm looking at your resume, I'm going to look at that in this way. It's just one page I'm quickly looking at, and you're wasting your this much part of your resume by saying you know how to use Microsoft Word or OS and blah blah blah. Doesn't make sense. So put it here. I like to put it here at the bottom and throw in a few more things. I like to organize it into sections. The sections you can organize it. The first one is data analysis because every job these days needs you to know data analysis. So you can write, Python, intermediate, C++, VBA, Power BI, and so on. Um, if you are beginner in all of them, do not write. But if you're intermediate and advanced in some of them and beginner in in a few of them, then you may mention it. But if you're beginner in all of them, do not write beginner, beginner, beginner. Just write the name. Okay, I know Python, I know this, and this. And when you get an interview and your interviewer asks you about it at that time, you can tell them that you are still a beginner, or maybe by that time you have developed intermediate skills. The second section I like to include there is industry related. What industry related softwares you are familiar with, then any other software or skill that you know, and you can write it in the other, but please do not mention that you know how to use an iPhone or how to use Microsoft Windows. It's so it's so basic that it doesn't add any value. If anything, it will make me, when I'm looking at your resume and I see those things, I'll just feel like this guy is using it as a filler. He doesn't have anything else to mention. But I highly recommend, please, please, please do not even use it as a filler in your resume. Then other interests are very, very important. Whether you play cricket, you like yoga, you like trekking, write something to make yourself look interesting. Because at the end of the day, when you go in for an interview, they are looking for a mutual fit. The interviewer asks himself or herself, do I want to work with this person? Does this person fit into my company culture? Let's say I'm stuck in office late on a Friday night. Is this a good guy to go out, have a beer with? So those things, make yourself look interesting. Don't make yourself look all work and no play. Just makes Jack a dull boy. And then the last part is certifications. All of us are doing so many courses on Coursera, EDX, EDvantage India, and so many other things. And you do want to include them on your resume, but please make sure they're relevant. If you did a course on economics and you're applying for or human policy or public policy, human rights, and you're applying for a petroleum engineering job, do not write it. Write it only if it is relevant. And you do not have to make a whole dedicated section for it. You can just write course name and in bracket the organization which offered it. I would recommend writing Coursera, or other thing you can do is, um, yeah, this way. So Python Bootcamp, this organization, this is the year I attended it, or whoever this person is. Um, Make sure it's in chronological order again. Reservoir Simulation, offered by University of Houston 2020. Fundamentals of Well Control, offered by Wild Well in 2019, and so on. And at the end, you can mention your affiliations also. So, for example, this person did not hold any um, position of value or position of power at Society of Petroleum Engineers, so it does not make sense to include here under leadership experience. So she included it under skills and certifications and other, or whatever else you may want to write it as. Just write affiliations, the name of affiliation, and the date of affiliation, the duration you were a member. So that's pretty much it on what are the most relevant sections of your resume and what your content should be. So let me stop sharing my screen, and um, we'll go back to the PowerPoint. Mm, Okay. All right. So in summary, we just talked about the resume template, what structure and content should be. And now when you're building your resume, the few questions that you need to ask yourself is first, follow the XYZ approach, write as accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. This will help you summarize this approach will help you summarize anything that you may have done, and it will help you tailor your projects and tailor your story to suit the job opening. The second approach is the sandwich approach. Do not write more than 3 bullet points under each of your work experience. If you have held multiple positions in the company, break it down. If you have worked for a company for too long, break it down into two positions, and make sure you have only a maximum of 3 bullet points, which are most relevant. Again, not the points you are most proud of, the points which are most relevant to the job you're applying for. And follow the sandwich approach. The top layer and the bottom layer, the top and the bottom, the first and the third bullet point should be attractive, should make the person think that I need to read this resume with more attention or with in more detail, and your weakest point in between. So sandwich it. Next point is quantify your accomplishments. Don't just say, oh, I helped the company save money. How much money? I helped the company reduce cost. By how much? Did I help you save just $50, or did I help the company save $5,000 or $5 million? Did I reduce the operating expenditures by $150, by 150%, or did I just reduce expenses compared to another department or another team working on a similar project? So quantify your accomplishments by keeping these things in mind. Whenever you're calculating, use odd numbers. They register in our mind more easily compared to even numbers, and makes your description look more legit. And at the end, when you're writing all your stories, follow the STAR approach. We'll go into a little bit more detail of how to use the STAR approach, and we'll also develop a tracker on how to maintain all these things. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. We'll get into more detail in a bit. Now, some people like to go an extra mile by creating a blog or a website or an online portfolio or a LinkedIn page. Um, if you are into yes, so if you have projects like that, let's say you're a computer scientist or or someone who's very good at programming, or if you in general have projects to showcase, I would highly recommend that you do either one of these three things. When I was back in college, I did it. Um, so let me show you. I just created a account on WordPress and created a blog for myself. If you want to stick to a blog, you don't have to pay anything. It's free. Um, but if you are willing to spend about $10 or $20 a year, um, you can easily create something. So I created this website um, when I was back in college. So, and whenever I applied for a job or contacted people on LinkedIn or networked with someone, I just sent them a link to vikrantlp.com, and it had my picture, my name. That's quite an old pic. Something I believe in, about portfolio, why choose me, achievement gallery, my LinkedIn, some downloadables here on the site, my resume, LinkedIn page, a form if someone wants to collaborate for a project or just hire now, and any highlights. At that time, I was working on a project where I built an artificial intelligence, a cloud-based application for bitwave prediction. So if you have some things like this, I would highly recommend go ahead and do it. Create a portfolio. It makes you stand out. Um, Write all these things under your portfolio. List all your projects and publications. And even better, why choose me? Achievement gallery. um, Upload all the things that you have ever done, the things you're proud of, the things that make you stand out, the things that are relevant. That's just my graduation pic, something to be proud of. And if you have more, let's say you have some program which you developed, go an extra mile. So let me share another one. So this is the one this was a project I did back in college, and this is the cloud-based application for bitwave prediction. So I created a Shiny app. So vikranthelp.shinyapps.io/critrimai, which is Sanskrit for artificial intelligence and predictive analytics. Created myself a little logo, nothing fancy, just something to share with the industry and gain some reputation. And I had basically three modules over here: vibration prediction failure, non-productive time analysis, and bitwave prediction. Now, the beautiful part about it is I just shared the link to the application. And to test how the application worked, the people sent me a message to share sample data with them. So that's how I started networking. There were more and more people now reaching out to me on LinkedIn, even when I was just a student, and communicating with them, sharing my data set with them, and showing them how this application works. And that this is what helped me land my first job right out of college, even an internship. So if you have something like this, I highly recommend that you create either an online portfolio of this sort, or you create a simple blog. On the blog, I did not write anything fancy. It was just a list of my projects and internships that I did at college as a student. Um, Create a blog, create a website, and create a LinkedIn page. Then start sharing those things on LinkedIn. Join the relevant LinkedIn groups. Start networking with people over there. We'll get in a bit on how to network and create some reputation, gain some reputation in the industry, get some visibility. That will help you create your silver lining and help you stand out. Now, having talked about how your resume should like, what the content should be, what the structure should be, and all that stuff, the next part I would say is finding a job. It's a job in itself, and most of the times it's a harder job to find the job than the job itself. So again, you have to treat your job search as your business, and you are the CEO of that business. So to do that, I recommend creating this tracker. Um, so yes, it does sound like a lot of work, but create a tracker, which will be a job tracker. Use these columns over there. That's the serial number, the position title, the position you're applying for, the company, link to the job description, the date the job was posted, the date you applied for the job, and whether you contacted anyone on LinkedIn at that organization for that job or not. Did the contact reply, yes or no? And if they replied, have you scheduled an informational interview? So informational interview, we'll get to it in a bit when we talk about networking. And if the contact has not replied, have you followed up with them? What's the key? What's the status of this job? Are you rejected? Have you not heard back from the company? Did you interview with them and got rejected, or did you never even got an interview? That's the status. And then you have the key takeaway. So key takeaway is something which not a lot of people do, but I highly recommend doing it. Let's say you got invited in for 5 job interviews, and after each interview, you will definitely think in your mind what you could have done different, what went wrong, what did you learn when you were talking to that interviewer. If you contacted someone on LinkedIn and that person had some advice to offer, what was the best advice? What was your key takeaway? What did you learn from applying for this job that you will do different the next time? So write that key takeaway over here. I use it personally all the time because at the end of the day, we never stop learning. Life is all about learning. So what did you learn from each and every of your experience? So let's say you have reached 77th interview. And now when you're going for this interview, you will have all these key takeaways to read, you'll have all these work points for yourself, and you don't need to Google anymore. What are the best questions to ask during an interview or stuff like that? You have a list of your own. So do maintain this tracker, extremely important, highly recommended. Now let's come to story. How will you, or actually let's do the project first. Let's say you have done multiple projects and the project was about implementing an effective field data capture system. So don't just write that hey, I was working here as a production engineer and I implemented an effective field data capture system. Okay, good for you. So do it in a different way. Write it in an XYZ format. You accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z, because guess what? Every company has a field data capture system. What was so different about it? So there's some questions you can ask yourself to help you build this XYZ story. So you really need to ask yourself, did I lead this project? Did I help save time? Did I help save money? Did I help reduce the man hours? Did I deliver the project before time? Did I build something new? Did I implement an existing concept? What tools did I use? Are these tools industry standard? What impact did this project create? What was the result? What was the outcome? What was distinctive about the way you did this project? How many people did you manage, if you manage any? What pain points did you solve? Was it your primary role, or did you reach out to your manager and volunteered for this role? Or is it a project that you started all by itself? And will a non-technical person understand what I wrote? So these are the questions you have to ask yourself when you're writing the description of any of your projects or any of your job title. So again, I would say create this tracker, list all your project, create this table XYZ, and for each project, help answer some of these questions. You won't be able to answer all of them. They won't be relevant in all your projects, but answer as many as you could, and then write your XYZ story. Now, similarly, when you get called in for an interview or for a phone call or something, and someone asks you about that project, don't repeat what you wrote on your resume. So for this project on your resume, you wrote, oh, I accomplished X as measured by V by doing Z. No, don't tell me that. I can already read it on your resume. You're wasting each other's time now. You got an opportunity to express yourself. So use that opportunity to tell a story. Now, how will you tell the same story? So the skill I want to show in the story is leadership. The project was implementing an effective field data capture system. On my resume, I wrote just one line, accomplished X measured by V, Y by doing Z. Now, in person, I'll tell a story. I'll say, I was in a situation. The situation was that in 2019, my firm decided to implement a system. We hired another company to build it for us, but that failed. Then I was assigned with a task. Being one of the end customers of the software, I discussed the situation with my manager and presented the management team some clear paths on how to move forward. After the meeting, I was appointed as the lead of this project. So that was the task I was given. And then what action did I use? Did I do? Implement. So I immediately stopped the field implementation of the software and directed all the resources to develop an interim solution, and so on, the whole story. What was my result? My result is we were able to build and implement a proper field data capture system while ensuring no loss in production and revenue. The new system enables to make faster and better decisions. Additionally, I was promoted to the position of technology integrator, and so on. So on your resume, make it brief, make it concise. It's a marketing document. Make the customer come into your shop. Once the customer is in your shop, follow the STAR approach to tell what you did. And again, maintain a job tracker, very important. So let's get to the next part. So next part is about networking. This is a term many of us dread. I dreaded this word. I dreaded networking when I was back in college, and especially when I moved to the United States in 2014. It was a big cultural change for me. I was in a country where I don't know anyone. Thankfully, I had very good seniors from the same college as I went back in India, and I made some good friends. They were all very helpful, but I still dreaded networking. And now we live in this post-corona world where we cannot go out and meet so many people, but we still have all these online platforms, all these webinars, LinkedIn, and other events which organizations conduct from time to time. That networking is still possible. So the first thing that you need to do when you go out and start networking is first thing you need to do is to create an elevator pitch, which will have only your necessary details and tell me what your silver lining is. The elevator pitch should be under 2 minutes and it should summarize what you did. For example, let's go back to the slide where I told you guys about me. So I have only 2 minutes and I have to explain everything that I do. So I broke it down into sections and um, wrote a quick, brief thing about what I did. So I did not talk about any of my technical projects. I did not talk about my GPA in college. I did not talk about what my favorite project is, how hard life is, and all those things. I just talked about quick summary things which will help you understand about what I did. So similarly, I would recommend that you all create your own 2 minute elevator pitch, which you can use when someone asks you, tell me about yourself. And please, when someone asks you, tell me about yourself, don't tell them, I was born in this city, then I moved here, this is the school I went to, this is what my dad did, this is what my mom did. All that information is extremely irrelevant and do not tell me anything about you as a candidate. So in your elevator pitch, keep it under 2 minutes, put necessary details only, and highlight your silver lining. You can follow the same format that we used for our resume. Recent engineering grad seeking an entry-level job, strong skill 1, skill 2, and skill 3. And then you can write some non-technical skills also. love to play cricket, a big yoga enthusiast, and really looking forward to join your company and learning more. And if you have these leadership experience, just throw in a line. I also hold positions of leadership with um, AADE or SPE or PPDM or IEEE. So keep it brief, keep it to the point, make it as a marketing pitch, and then take it from there. If anyone is interested in any particular section, they can talk to you further, and then you can dive into deeper detail of what you do. Now, the next thing is LinkedIn messages. First, don't just click the send button. Don't just say you're looking for a job. Don't fall for clickbaits and add some research to your messages. Even when you're applying for jobs, do not click on that easy apply button and be done with it. It always has an option of including a cover letter, a resume, and it sometimes also shows you who posted the job. So reach out to that person, drop them a nice, sweet message, tell them what you're looking for, and try to have a conversation with them. Don't just tell them, hey, I'm looking for a job, hire me. Ask them, hey, I'm looking for building a career in this sector. You look like someone who is very well familiar with it. Would you mind getting on a call with me and advise how I should proceed? There's so many people out there who are looking to help. It's just that you whether you ask for the help in a proper way or not. So let's look at some messages which I have personally received over the years, and the messages that did not get a response, and messages that do get a response. So first, there was this guy who said, "Hi, sir," even hi was not written properly. "If you have any vacancies, please let me know." I'm sorry, why would I let you know? You're not my cousin or you're not related to me. You're not my friend. You're just a random dude who messaged me on LinkedIn and asked me if I have any vacancies. I let you know. Sorry, not going to happen. Second message, "Hello, I thought it would be great to connect because we work in industries that complement each other. Nice to meet you." Well, this guy was much better than this first guy, but again, it's a little bit odd. Okay, yeah, there's so many people working in oil and gas sector. Nice to meet all of them. So even if I reply to this person, it will be just like, "Hi, thanks for reaching out. Nice to meet you too." End of conversation. But what you really want to do is keep the conversation going. So let's look at some templates and some messages that you can actually use to reach out to people on LinkedIn. So let's talk about this one first. This guy is a general and operations manager in upstream oil and gas. And he read an article that I published on the Way Ahead magazine. And he sent me a message: "Vikrant, enjoyed your TWA article, great discussion points, cheers." I'm definitely going to add him to my network. I'm definitely going to have a conversation for him because he already established a rapport with me. He's like, okay, this guy is interested in me. I'm interested in him too. Second one, "Dear Vikrant, I am an engineering student, recently joined this group on LinkedIn. I'm graduating in May 2017 and then going to Norway to do MS. I would like to apply my engineering knowledge in any project or research that you're working on. This would be an amazing opportunity for me to gain experience and learn from industry professionals." Again, very good, to the point, what you're looking for, not asking for a job. He's asking for help, he's asking for advice. So this is someone you will talk to, or at least accept the connection request. Second one, "Just want to have a few minutes for a discussion, opportunities that we might have at your end where I can fit in and pursue my career. Can I please have 5 minutes? I'll be obliged and thankful." Message will get a response. A few others, let's say you applied. So this person applied for a position at my company and then sent me a message. "I know you must receive a lot of messages, but I'm applying as an intern. I humbly ask you if you might be able to take a look at my application or recommend someone who can. So hopefully I can get the opportunity to work with you." Again, it's not something, hi, hire me. It's something a person is trying to have a conversation. This person, I saw your post about this. I'm interested in learning more about this. Do you have a few minutes to discuss? Again, perfect. It was nice meeting you. This. I was wondering if I could take you up on your offer to grab a beer and hear some more stories. Perfect. Like I told you, you also want to know whether this person is someone I could be friends with. So these are the type of messages which get a response. Now, next thing I want to say is to be persistent, and I'm going to show you an example of how I contacted one person back when I was a student to get an internship. So I applied for this internship, which was A&D Reservoir Engineer at a company called DD. And once I applied for it on LinkedIn and on their company website, I decided to reach out to different people working at that company and ask for advice. I did create my tracker also, by the way, so don't forget about it. So the first message which I sent along with my connection request was, "Hi, I'm interested in this position and want to seek your guidance regarding the same. I hope you will be willing to connect." Short and sweet, but since you all only have 300 character limit when you're sending someone a connection request, but definitely better than someone else who would have just clicked the connect button. This person was like, "Oh, okay, this person is a student, he needs help, why not? Let me do it." So this person accepted my connection request. And then the second message I sent was this one. "Thanks for connecting. I'm interested in learning about your experience and any advice you may have for someone aspiring to be a reservoir engineer. You must be very busy, but if I can work around your schedule, would we be able to have a short 15-minute phone call? I'm very flexible. You can tell me 6 a.m. I hope we arrange something." Guess what? The person did not reply. So I was still persistent. I dropped her a message after a couple of weeks again. And but yeah, don't be persistent like dropping a message every day. Give them at least 1 to 2 week period in between. I've personally known some people who would drop me a message at 6 in the morning, and I get to work at 9, and they've dropped me another message, and by 12 they've already concluded. "Looks like you don't want to talk to me. Thanks for your time." I'm like, dude, wait. So after 2 weeks, I dropped another message to this person and I said, "I hope you're staying safe. I want to follow up and see if I could do something to make a phone call possible. I can make myself available as per your schedule. Thanks for your time." And guess what? I did get a response. "Yes, I would be happy to chat with you. Send me an email with some times that are available and we can schedule a meeting. Thanks for your response. I'll send an email with some suggested times." So the first connection request was sent on March 7th and a meeting was scheduled for April 15th. So be persistent. If someone does not respond immediately to your connection request, follow up again after 2 weeks and then follow up again after 2 weeks. It's very much possible that the person is overwhelmed. They saw your message, they thought about replying it, but it just slipped out of their mind. And everyone is going through so much right now. So be persistent, but be um, considerate at the same time. Don't push every day or multiple times during the same day. And sometimes you will be surprised. So there was this guy who we first contacted on March 7th, and a meeting was finally scheduled on July 29th. Um, I was being persistent a couple of times and then I stopped. And then after a couple of months, the guy replied, "Hey, sorry for the super late reply, but feel free and we can set up a time." So you never know how things will work out. So just maintain a positive mind frame and do your best, be persistent, be considerate, do your research before reaching out to people, and don't just ask for a job straight up. Try to build a connection, network with them. That's the name of the whole story, networking. Now, another thing when we talk about networking, which I say don't fall for clickbaits. So I often see a lot of people on LinkedIn, they'll be just commenting, like commenting for better reach, or there will be some Ponzi recruiter who will say, "If you want this job, comment interested," and so on, and everyone will do that. Do not do that. They are just clickbaits. They're just trying to build a database. They're just trying to gain more followers and things like that. Um, Otherwise, improve your communication skills and foster positive relationships by changing the way you respond to people, by changing the way you respond to people in person and on social media. Let's say someone posts something and says, "Hey, I just got a promotion." Now, there are four ways you can respond to them. You can do an active constructive comment, you can do a passive constructive comment, similarly, a passive destructive and an active destructive. So, let's say, "Hey, I just got a promotion." You can reply in a very authentic, enthusiastic way. "Hey, that's great. What are your new duties? When do you start?" Or you could be very passive, but still be constructive and say, "That's nice, good for you." Or you could be very destructive in a very passive way. "I got a funny email from my son. Listen to this." You completely ignored the event. Or you could be actively destructive, where you point out the negative aspects of the event and try to person walk out of it. There's no extra pay and it will eat up a lot of your R&R time. So try to stick to one and two, even when on social media someone shares an article, a post, a photo, and that is someone you want to build a connection with. Let's say that person works at the company you're applying for. Try to put some active constructive or passive constructive comments. So you will stand out from all those thousands of other people or hundreds of other people applying for that job or just clicking the like button on this post. Moving on, the next part is during the interview. So, in my experience of conducting interviews, especially with international candidates coming from mostly coming from India or other Asian countries, I see a trend. The trend is they all talk in a way that they're here to give an exam, they're here to give a viva, they're here to give a quiz. No, interviews are very conversational in nature, and it's very important to keep them conversational in nature. The company is looking for a mutual fit. The company is not looking for a yes ma'am or a yes sir person. They want to see whether you are a good fit for the company, and you want to see whether the company is a good fit for you. So keep it conversational in nature. Don't let the interviewer drive it, but every now and then take charge, and you can also drive the conversation. You can also drive the interview. Ask some questions back. Ask questions about the position. Ask questions about the interviewer, about his personal experience, about how does he like his position? How did he end up in this position? And other things. Keep it interesting, keep it to the point. Don't start talking about some random things of world politics or how this world could be a better place to live. No, don't do that. Keep it interesting, but keep it to the point. Then dress to impress, even if it's a video call, please put on a shirt. Don't just show up in your t-shirt. Maintain your language. This is something personally I noticed more on the Western side. There's some people who like to use certain slang words. So make sure you don't use any of that. You stick to professional vocabulary. Um, Even if the interviewer engages, you do not engage. Maintain an eye contact. Do not cover your face while talking. Do not look here and there. Do not use a lot of filler words. And obviously, develop an elevator pitch. When someone asks you, "Tell me about yourself," answer with your elevator pitch. Do not answer where you went to school or what's the name of your dad and which company your mom works for. Do not do that. Tell me about yourself, who you are. So work on your elevator pitch. And when someone asks you that question, give your elevator pitch. When someone asks you your future plans, do not tell them, "Oh, I'm planning to leave the industry in some time." I know people say honesty is the best policy, but over here, remember, you're working as a salesperson. You are a salesman. Your job application is a company, and you're the CEO. All the companies, they don't always tell you the truth. They'll sell you, "Hey, buy iPhone 10, but you know what? We're going to discontinue it from a month from now, and your phone will be useless." They don't tell you that. They just tell you, "Hey, buy this phone." So that's what you're going to do. Even if some people say, "Oh, I'm thinking of going to grad school a couple of years from now." And they tell that during the interview. What makes you think I'll be interested in hiring you once I know that? Because the company is going to make a long-term investment in you. So when you share your future plans, make sure your future plans are consistent and they're consistent with the company and the job you're applying for. And another question which is very common is, why do you want to do this? Um, if someone says, why do you want to do this? Don't say, because I have a degree in petroleum engineering and you're an oil and gas company looking for a petroleum engineer. No. Do your research, know your customer, bring everything together, research the company, go on their website, check out their LinkedIn, network with people, conduct informational interviews, um, see what all they have mentioned on their website, and then build your answer accordingly. And similarly, when someone asks you, why did you do this? Why did you choose petroleum engineering right out of high school? Don't say that's the only option I got. No. Create a convincing argument. I was really good in chemistry. Physics was my favorite subject. And I came to know that these are the two things I can apply together. And but then don't say and serve um, solve this world's energy problem. If you tell me that you're working towards solving the world's energy problems, my follow-up question will be, how? It's been 4 years you're studying petroleum engineering. What did you do to solve the world's energy crisis? So make sure your answers are consistent. Ask your friend or relative or cousin to listen through your answers and make sure that person doesn't lose interest while you're delivering your answers and the answers are um, precise and consistent. Another thing which people usually do is reach out to alumni of your college and ask them if they can help you prepare for an interview. Just drop them a nice message, um, derive something from these examples we just um, looked at, be persistent and ask them, hey, can you take out 15 to 20 minutes, maybe half an hour of your busy schedule and help me prepare for this interview? I'll be very obliged. You can tell me even 5 in the morning. I'll make myself available. I'll work around your schedule and so on. And you'll be surprised. Your alumni will be more than willing to help. And last thing, do include some hobbies in it. Don't make yourself uh, look like um, look like an all work person. Do include your hobbies. Make yourself an interesting person, not just your technical skill set. I should be able to think whether I can be friends with this person or not. And then stay positive. That is the most important thing. There was a survey I recently read. I don't know, it was pre-corona world, that it takes an average American about 6 months to get a job. I do not have data for India, but I believe it will be same or even a longer period. But during that period, keep focusing on your tracker, keep focusing on your key takeaways, and learning from each experience that you have. And follow the ABCD approach. The ABCD approach was developed um, by this psychologist. I forgot his name. Let me check my notes. Okay, now. So the ABCD approach is basically adversity, belief, consequence, dispel. So it means that the emotional consequences, which is your C, stem not directly from adversity, but from one's beliefs about adversity. And we need to learn how to quickly and effectively dispel these unrealistic beliefs about adversity. So, for example, something bad happens with you. So, that thing or whatever that incident may not be that bad as you think it is. And you'll think that it's the end of the world, and whatever next job, let's say, you'll apply for, you will still feel down and demotivated and discouraged, and you will be in a spiral of self-loathing. Don't do that. Dispel such thoughts. Tell yourself, it's okay, I got rejected from one job, I did not get an interview, I went in for an interview, I did not get selected. This is what all I learned. And guess what? It's not the end of the world. I'll get another interview tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe a month from now. So whatever incident that happened, that adversity is not as bad as we made it in our minds. So we need to train ourselves to dispel such thoughts and move on to the next one and stay positive and keep working on and moving on to the next goal. To summarize, so today we talked about what your objective should be, how you should change your mindset. You should work towards selling yourself. Um, you should need to do a KYC study before applying for a job. Know what they're looking for, see how you fit in, study their website properly, reach out to people on LinkedIn, conduct informational interviews, then focus on the structure and content of your resume, put the most relevant sections out. And when you're working on your content, see follow different approaches to stand out. For example, the XYZ approach, or the sandwich approach, or the star method. And when you're building your content, create an Excel tracker. And for each story and each project, we looked at certain questions that you need to ask yourself that will help you answer those questions. And we also saw a template for job application tracking and how to reach out to people on LinkedIn and what are the best practices during an interview. And at the end, stay positive and good luck with your job search. That's all I have for you today. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and I'll be glad to help. Thank you. All right. We do have some um, questions over here. Um, so first one is, can you please tell some projects for final year students which attracts the CR and the oil and gas industry in the present scenario? The first thing, I do not know what you mean by CR. So Dhatri, if you're still there, feel free to type it in the chat or unmute yourself and talk what CR means. But it really depends. The projects, it really depends what you're looking for. Are you looking to make a career in drilling? Are you looking to make a career in reservoir engineering, in data analytics? And then you can accordingly talk to your professors and create a project accordingly. Company recruiters, okay. So, all right. So it really depends which company you're looking for. But if you want to keep it generic, I would recommend that whatever project you work on, you throw in some element of data analytics or computer science in it while solving an industry problem you may have. But again, depends on the company and the job you're applying for.
Sir,
Yes. Go ahead.
sir, yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Actually, yeah, I'm the student of pre-final year now, so I
Mhm.
want to know what are the projects would better for us, like technical point of view, not like software.
Um, like I said, it could be, I would recommend creating a project which will have a data analytics angle to it and also focus on solving a company, uh, an industry problem in general. So, for example, you can do like the one I did, bitware prediction. It's an industry problem which I solved, but it also had an angle of machine learning and artificial intelligence. So that project can help you with multiple job listings. And again, as we talked, it really depends on how you frame your responses um, for different job descriptions. I hope that helps. And if you want to dive into deeper detail, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can discuss in more details about what type of projects you're looking for, and I can help you pick one.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for this.
Next question is about how about LinkedIn courses and certificate webinars from institutions. So that's a good thing. I would say definitely include it in your resume if it is relevant. If it is relevant to the job you're applying for. Let me quickly share my screen again. So, for example, I showed you this template under skills and certifications. You can write certifications and write the name of the certification that you have and the organization which you offered it and when did it offer, and make sure you write it in a chronological manner. But make sure it's relevant to the job you're applying for. Um, that's it. Okay, we have another question here. How should we answer to the question, what is your weakness in interviews? All right, that's a very good one. When someone asks you what is your weakness, the first thing I would recommend is do not give a cliche response. Oh, my weakness is punctuality. I always reach 10 minutes before, I always reach on time. Don't write all that stuff. I mean, we all know you read it off internet and you're just giving me a cookie cutter answer to get through with it. So what I recommend is when answering such questions, present an area which is your weakness. For example, if you ask me, my answer would be, okay, my weakness is computer programming. I know how to do it, but I'm very slow at it. And what an expert would do in a day, I might take a day and a half or a couple of days. But I'm taking an online course to polish my skills and improve myself in computer programming. So to answer your question, it's write whatever your actual weakness is and follow up with what steps you're taking to overcome it or to improve yourself in that aspect. I hope that helps. Any other questions? You're welcome. So anyone else, if you guys have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask. Okay, we just got another one that says, can we add the summer internship on fresher resume? Absolutely, yes. I don't see why wouldn't you add it. Um, that's a relevant work experience you have. I wouldn't say create a whole different section for summer internship. Um, do it under your, there you go. So put it under your work experience, write the name of the company, and under position, you can write, for example, this one, project intern for at this location for this much time, and write what you did as an intern. So yeah, definitely add your summer internship under your work experience. Anything else? Feel free to type in or unmute yourself and we can talk about it.